minute sacrifice your time blocks that are meant for productivity and proactivity, for lead generation, for follow-ups, when you sacrifice that time in order to serve something right now, that's exactly what starts creating the roller coaster of income effect. And that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah, and for some reason, agents do this where they come in and they deal with the fire of the morning, which is typically a client freaking out about something or a transaction's about to fall off the tracks, But having the discipline to just compartmentalize that and just say, hey, that problem will still be there in 3 hours. It may even be resolved.
Welcome to the Growth Drivers Podcast, the show where we break down the leadership frameworks, mindset shifts, and strategies that fuel entrepreneurial success, personal transformation, and business breakthroughs.
I'm Rachael Novak.
And I'm Mike Novak.
Let's dive in and start driving your growth.
Still overwhelmed, scattered, and stuck? This planning ritual is going to give you the ruthless clarity and the momentum to finally win the week. Today we're talking about the weekly planning ritual that guarantees growth. I see so many people, not just agents, but just friends, colleagues, leaders in other businesses, and just like even 9-to-5 people really struggle with this, where they jump into their week and they're like instantly in reactive mode. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly the word I was going to use for it, because it's like you're waking up Monday morning, like you don't want to do the thing Sunday to prep that we're going to kind of get into, and you wake up Monday morning already feeling behind, like already trying to play a little catch up, already trying to close some loops and button up some things before you can be proactive in your business or your life.
Right. If you come into Monday morning and you don't already have a plan for that week, you've already lost not just that day, but the entire week.
Yeah,
right?
You're going to lose massive momentum.
Right. So like out of that, I mean, what are some of the negatives that come out of it? I mean, obviously, like a huge lack of focus is a negative.
Yep.
Spinning your wheels and feeling like you're busy, but you're not productive is something that I see a lot as well. Where you're putting in the time, but you're not really getting anything out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that will manifest itself in like showing up to the office, and because you haven't like laid out a clear plan for what the focus of your week is, or in warrior speak, what your weekly war looks like, or your domino door, now you're showing up and you're kind of like, well, should I do this? Or like, should I focus on this area? Like you're very scattered, and you're now attempting to multitask, which is a buzzword in our industry, especially. Like, we're all great multitaskers. Multitasking is the thing that will keep you back from relentlessly accomplishing your goals week to week.
Yeah, multitasking is the opposite of focus.
Correct.
So, yeah, and then I think the worst thing maybe that comes out of this is you end up basically being on the receiving end of everyone else's needs.
Yes.
Right? Because you haven't called your own shots, you haven't allocated your time and your focus for each day of the week and what you're going to do, you now just become, basically like the solution to everyone else's problem, and you have to take care of all of the needs that they have that they come to you with. This could be like in transactions, real estate deals, like clients. It could be agents on the other side, where you feel like you're playing defense the whole week. Like you never actually feel caught up, and then Friday or Saturday come and you're like, what the hell did I actually get done this week?
Yeah.
I survived, but I sure as hell didn't thrive.
Yeah, it's like it's the difference between, responding to a bunch of emails with answers and closing loops for other people, but not ever sending emails and being proactive about the things that you're trying to drive your business forward with.
Right. So like on the reverse side of this, I mean, it doesn't really have to be this way. We've worked really hard on this over the last 10 years. And we've coached a lot of people on this as well. And how do you actually set up your week to be massively successful so that when you come into Monday, you feel like you've got a plan, right? Like you know what you're going to do for the week, where you're going to focus your time, and that time that you're going to be focused on aligns to your bigger goals. It's not just kind of shooting from the hip on what needs to be done that day, but it's actually like aligning and synergizing to your ultimate goals for the year.
And I want to specify that this isn't just the business domain. This is your body, your fitness, your family, your kids, your marriage, relationships, as well as business. Like there is a big shift in accomplishment, quality of life when you put into place this consistent cadence of planning for your week where you can show up better, you can show up more fit, you can show up more present, you can create quality time even if it's not the quantity that you may want. It's better in every single domain.
Yeah, you have intentionality, right? Like
Yes.
you've got conscious intentionality versus like passivity to your schedule and your planning. So
Exactly.
you know what you're going to do each day, you know the time you're going to do it, and you know the focus of that time block. Like, hey, I'm going to really go deep on this one thing and not do other things at that same time. And that's where like people really start to find success. You know, like success in real estate is really pretty simple. It's about being focused on a couple of very simple things and then being really ruthlessly committed to doing those things week in, week out.
Right.
But when you see people that don't plan their week and they just show up on Monday morning ready to take on the week and shoot from the hip, those things don't actually get done. Like they should get backburnered because whatever the chaos is of the day takes over.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So if it doesn't have to be this way, and instead it looked like intentionality, proactivity, moving the ball down the field in every single domain, how do we get there?
Yeah, and focus. I want to make
And
sure
focus,
stay
yes.
very honed in on that word focus because when I look at our industry right now and just society as a whole, focus and lack of focus is the biggest problem we have. We're a very distracted society at the moment.
Yeah, attention is the most expensive currency right now, for sure.
So, what is the path to actually have a supercharged week, and what is this planning ritual? We're going to break that down for you, and what we found works really, really well. So let's jump right into that. Like, what is the solution to this problem? What is the tactical roadmap and the blueprint that you can take away from today's episode and go start doing it next week? Like, change immediately. Take action and don't just listen to this and move on to the next thing for your day. The first thing that we do is a Sunday review. Do you want to kind of tell people what a Sunday review includes?
Absolutely. We used to call this the weekly alignment meeting, right?
Yep.
So Sunday review is essentially looking back at the calendar over the last 6 or 7 days. What did I accomplish? Where did I actually meet the goals that I was intentionally trying to get to in different domains? Did I honor the time blocks? Did those time blocks work well? Was I productive during those time blocks? Really kind of doing a full review of what this past week looked like. And it sounds pretty in-depth, but quite frankly, it takes 4 minutes. Like, it takes no time to really reflect on it and look back on your calendar. Once we've done that Sunday review, now we want to review what does my upcoming calendar look like? What does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this next week look like? What obligations do I have? I want to say that, especially as parents, it is incredibly critical that I'm checking the school's calendar. I'm checking the kids' sports calendars. I'm checking, even now that they're teenagers, their social calendars. Like, what plans do they have this week that we need to work around or help them support them with? Where is it working? Like, did it work with my time blocks for my fitness this week? Do I need to push those back? Do I push those up? Was I squeezed for time in a certain way that took away from something else? This is all included in that Sunday review. So what was a week prior? Did it work? What do I have upcoming this coming week?
Yeah, and I think this is maybe a good time to talk about the IWS, the Ideal Weekly Schedule, because we always coach people to create an IWS. Like, what is the ideal schedule for your position and that's in alignment with your goals in each area of your life? Like, how, if a perfect week was laid out, how would you spend your time? And so we help agents kind of build this, and it typically includes, some kind of wake up around 5 o'clock. Some of us get up earlier, some of us get up later, whatever. It typically includes going to the gym, right? And getting that mental clarity through exercising and moving your ass. And then it includes coming to the office and role playing. It includes lead conversion time. It includes following up with people you've met. It includes following up with your clients. And then in the afternoon, it includes going on meetings, right? Like, if there's one hack I can give agents, it's to stop meeting with clients in the morning and instead stay just massively consistent with your lead conversion time. Like, even if it's just an hour every day, but it's done with ruthless consistency, it's going to yield massive fruit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I think, to your point, when you go outside of a weekly calendar, like there are instances, right? And we'll talk about customizing your weekly calendar week to week based on activities or seasons or whatever that you're in. But when you last minute sacrifice your time blocks that are meant for productivity and proactivity, for lead generation, for follow-ups, when you sacrifice that time in order to serve something right now, that's exactly what starts creating the roller coaster of income effect. And that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah, and for some reason, agents do this where they come in and they deal with the fire of the morning, which is typically a client freaking out about something or a transaction's about to fall off the tracks, But having the discipline to just compartmentalize that and just say, hey, that problem will still be there in 3 hours. It may even be resolved by the time I get to it. I'm going to just go ahead and pretend like that's not there till 11 or 12 o'clock. I'm going to just focus with consistency on making my phone calls, doing my follow-ups, and keeping my pipeline really, really full. That's me controlling my day and not having other people control it.
Yes, exactly.
So you have that IWS, but then you want to customize it each week, which seems kind of contradictory, right?
Yeah.
But the reason we do this is I see so many people that have life happen, like right now is graduation season. Our son's graduating from middle school. We're going to deviate from our Friday night schedule tonight to go to his graduation, right? But we made that proactive change to our calendar and our IWS on Sunday. So those things happen. But what happens and what I see occur is agents just don't make those changes to their calendar. They just pretend like they're going to run this IWS that they don't actually run.
Right. And it's so easy, whether you use Outlook or Google Calendar, it is so easy to drag and drop your time blocks to still fit all the things in. Like, just because we have this thing Friday night, okay, well, that means date night looks a little bit different today. We have to push it up a little bit, which means that we had to push up some other activities today. Like, that's okay. That's normal. I'm still getting in the same time blocks. I'm just relocating them so that I'm able to accomplish all of the things that I need to. And know that it's not going to be cookie cutter every single week, but these general things, these big rocks in my business and my life in each domain are going to be tackled.
Yep, 100%. And so then how do you recommend they connect with their spouse? Because obviously, like, pulling out the calendar together and looking at it on Sunday is pretty important to make sure you kind of understand where you're each going, right?
Yeah, I think this is a big miss for a lot of people. I think a lot of people kind of live last minute, fly by the seat of their pants, like forget to remind each other of things. And I mean, it's happened to us, but overarchingly, when we're able to spend Sunday, like, hey, what things do we have coming up this week? I see this is on your calendar. What does that mean for the kids pickup? Or what does that mean for the work day? Or what does that mean for when we're going to, record a new podcast or whatever it is? Mm-hmm. We have a plan. So we're pulling in each other's calendars and holding each other accountable to the things that we're trying to get done week to week, and getting on the same page, syncing our calendars so that there's congruency and we each know where we're going.
Yeah, and sometimes there's cover and move where, like, I need to go grab the kids for you because you got a meeting or something's happening. And so if you don't do this, you get out of sync really quickly with your spouse, and all of a sudden you're like kind of ships passing in the night. You don't really know where the person's at or what they're doing, and they don't know what you're doing either.
What can create a lot of frustration? I mean, like if I don't plan well and I have a meeting that I've either forgot to remind you or forgot to get on your calendar that I need you to pick something up or grab a kid or whatever, and then an hour before I need that done, I'm calling you and you have to now drop whatever you're doing because you have to go do that. That's very frustrating, and that's disrespect on your time. So really, this is like a respectful, proactive way to coexist with your spouse in a way that is in alignment constantly with each other, which helps your relationship and the communication day to day.
Yep. So the ritual really is the Sunday review, right? Mm-hmm. And that includes having an IWS, customizing each week, syncing it with your spouse. We take it a really, really big step further with our weekly war setting inside of our Warrior Agent app. This is an app that's available for our coaching clients. But do you want to talk just a little bit more about this? Because I think this is the most powerful part of our weekly ritual. It was a huge upgrade once we both started following the system.
Yeah, 100%. So the weekly war in the Warrior Agent program is in the app that we use. So if you're part of the movement or you're a Premier Coaching client, you know exactly what we're talking about. But the weekly war is meant to create laser focus in every single domain. So you have 4 specific targets in body, in being, in balance, and in your business that you know you have to get done. And by creating those 4 specific targets, it laser focuses you to accomplish those things, and it puts in writing in the app where you can check every single day, basically like a to-do list, like a checklist. Am I working to get this done? Am I closing this loop? Am I accomplishing this? And then one step even further than the 4 hit items per domain is what we call the domino door, which is like, what is the one thing this week I absolutely have to get done? And what are the 4 keys that I need to do, the activities or tasks or things that I need to do to get that one thing done, that knock down that domino door? And what this has done for us is it has created a framework where I'm now maintaining my body domain in bodybuilding prep. I am maintaining my pipeline and building my business with my partner. I am maintaining 30 minutes a night with the kids, completely uninterrupted, no phones, just BSing, catching up with them, hearing about their day, being very intentional with that time, eyeballs to eyeballs, quality time with them. Even if it's only half an hour, it's there. And then, of course, also spending time for me, right? So I'm stacking and I'm reflecting and I'm reading and I'm doing the things. And without that intentionality, without that weekly war setting, without those 4 hit targets per domain, I'm just kind of flying by the seat. I don't have a framework. I don't have a structure of things that I need to get done every single day. So by having that, it allows me to focus way more on the different specific things in each domain that I need to get done to accomplish the goals that I'm really going after in each domain.
I know for me, I struggled a lot to keep all 4 domains going at the same time.
Yeah.
And I before Warrior, I actually never had met anyone that did all 4 really well.
Yeah.
Like no one actually. Everyone would be like really good at 1 or 2, but then they'd be really bad at 1 or 2 as well. And so for me, it was body and business. Like those were the easy gimmies, but I would have very little intentionality week to week with the being and the balance side of things. And the side effect of that is obviously, ending up extremely one-dimensional and massively out of balance and neglecting people that mean a lot to you, or neglecting your sense of being in spirituality as well, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And ultimately that will hamstring your business growth, right? Like people think that when they spend time in the gym, they spend time doing anything spiritual, they spend time with their family, they think that is costing them money. Why is that not true?
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, and I was here at one point too,
point.
like 6-7 years ago, where I was like, hey, I need to go keep working. I need to keep making money, and I don't have time to go do these things, and I'm losing too much money doing them. So what would you tell someone that kind of has that mindset?
Yeah, I think that's such a common mindset. And what it does is it spreads you so thin, because if you're constantly thinking about, worrying about, focusing on business only, and you're never able to detach enough to be present with people in your life, it starts to create stress fractures in the relationships that you have with your family, and it creates stress fractures in your own self-confidence and the relationship you have with you. And when your self-confidence is shaken, or when you have stress fractures in your marriage and things get tense, or your kids are giving you a lot of guilt because you're not spending time with them, and when they see you, they're acting out because that's the only way that they get your attention, and you're frustrated because they're acting out. It's kind of a sick cycle when that happens. Well, by compartmentalizing and taking that intentional time to focus on yourself, to reflect and rephrase and mirror and stack, and then to also spend intentional time with your spouse, spend intentional time with your kids, you're investing in those relationships in order to enrich them, in order to keep them strong and keep you kind of a person who's in harmony. And when you are a person in harmony, when you have built that self-confidence, when you have, you continue to maintain your marriage, and you feel confident in your spouse, and you feel confident in your kids when you go home, you can show up in business tenfold more powerful, like significantly more powerful, by focusing in those other domains. It all bleeds into each other.
Yeah, you've built really a sustainable 4-dimensional life at this point.
Right.
And you don't have something that's just going to come up as a blind spot and bite you in the ass. Like that often will show up in the form of like a major health issue that somebody has. They were all focused on business, they neglected their health, and all of a sudden, boom, they have like a catastrophic health event that then now hamstrings their business growth. Or they get out of touch with their spouse divorces them, and that derails their entire business and their financial life. Like all these things really do connect together,
Yeah, I was thinking, I was listening to Craig Ballantyne. He did a on his own podcast, he had somebody else interview him about his new book, The Dark Side of Discipline. And it was actually pretty fascinating, just kind of his take on it, to kind of hear how he summarizes this book. If you have not read Craig Ballantyne's newest book, he's one of our favorite mentors we've ever had, such a phenomenal human. He wrote The Perfect Day Formula, which was the foundational reset that we needed when we got back into real estate in 2016. He just came out with a book called The Dark Side of Discipline. Go buy it and read it immediately. It is such a great take on the facade that our society created with this word discipline and what discipline actually means. And what Craig really breaks down is exactly what we're talking about, is being present in each domain and prioritizing the things that are really important. And when you do that, being able to show up in every domain even better as a person.
Yeah, it's really a book about how busyness does not equate to productivity.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. And a focus on taking targeted action.
Exactly. Yeah. So, really good.
One other thing just about the weekly wars that I think is so powerful, like there's so much to it, but it connects, like there's kind of like a 3-part planning, system here. It starts with setting your annual goals, which we call our impossible game. And then we break that down into milestones, which we call our monthly missions. So there's 12 monthly missions, obviously, each year. And those monthly missions are like a progressional step towards your impossible game in each domain, right? So now I've synergized what I need to do this month to take kind of a bite of the apple for the year. And then it's going to get broken down even further into weeks. Like, what are the actual actions that need to happen this week to now make progress on not only my monthly mission, but then also towards my impossible game.
Right, exactly.
So the outcome of that is massive synergy, right? And focus.
Yep.
You're not spinning your wheels doing busy work. You're not spinning your wheels doing things that don't align to the bigger picture. You're super targeted.
Well, and it gives you a structure, right? And I just had this conversation with my accountability group on Tuesday this week because, we talked a lot about how prior to utilizing this framework, this warrior way and the weekly war setting, it's like the things that you need to get done week to week, but you also have a lot of autonomy within this industry. You can do whatever you want, right? Like we can control our schedule however we want. And so people will run wild with that sometimes. Whereas if you create yourself a framework and write down the 4 things in each domain that you absolutely want to get done or you absolutely want to maintain, for instance, in body, mine is 100% training, 100% cardio, 100% stay on meal plan, and a certain amount of ounces of water per day. Like I am very clear every single day what I need to do and taking the steps towards doing it. And so what we talked about was by creating this framework and having that to follow is so freeing. And it's the opposite of what you think it's going to be. You think it's going to feel like you're trapped, like you're stuck, like you're obligated to do these things. And quite the opposite is true. When you start actually compounding all these proactive activities, you find this level of freedom that you're like, holy shit, like I can accomplish a lot in a short amount of time that I did not realize with this laser focus. So it's been a phenomenal framework for sure.
Yeah. So like the last thing I would mention is, if you're looking for guided implementation on all of these things, definitely check out some of the links below, whether you're listening to this on the podcast or watching it on YouTube, and you can learn some more about our coaching programs. We've got an awesome premier coaching program that has direct access with us to co-pilot your business for 1 year. And we're helping people in 1 year get done what most people get done in like 3 or 4 years, and not just in business, but in these other domains as well, through using these proven systems. Like there's really a formula to create this life by design and to ultimately have it all.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So that wraps it up for today. We will see you guys next week.
Have a great one, guys. That's a wrap on today's episode of Growth Drivers.
If you found value in this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a fellow entrepreneur.
For more insights, tools, and resources, visit us at thewarrioragent.com.
Keep pushing forward, keep leading with purpose, and we'll see you next time.